Your headgear actually matters. The hat that you wear. Now, I wear a lot of hats, but But the headgear that you choose to go outdoors with should be a consideration, okay? Now, right now I'm piecing together my 18th century kit that honors my grandfather who served in the Dover Light Infantry. Okay, I'm going to start there, and we're going to talk about various types of headgear, but it's kind of interesting to note that what my grandfather might have worn, this leather helmet, is still pretty practical when you think about it, especially in an outdoor recreation setting. Now, the light infantry was a particular type of unit that was designed for irregular warfare. You know, here in the colonies, there was still a lot of woods compared to what we got today, right? So much of the warfare was fought out in the woods. And light infantry especially was supposed to be able to be maneuverable in various different conditions. And you don't want anything to get in your way, to slow you down, or to be a nuisance with it that is impeding your activity as a warfighter. So many light infantry units adopted either a shortened hat like this. So they would take a round hat that might have been cocked, and they would have literally cut out parts of the hat to eliminate those sides. So now when you're maneuvering your musket, it's not getting in your way. Also, going through the woods isn't getting caught on branches and brush or whatever. So you're able to maneuver in just that way alone. Now, the leather helmets, this particular one certainly came over from British tradition. Now, the dragoons and the light infantry were considered more elite, especially the light dragoons. They were elements of the military that were considered flank companies. So you would have the light infantry on the left, and you would have the heavy grenadiers on the right. Now, the light infantry was more or less supposed to be scouting it out, being skirmishers, canvassing the enemy, flanking the enemy rather quickly, right? Whereas the grenadiers, that's like shock and awe. Light infantry is supposed to be quick and nimble and very fit. The grenadiers are supposed to be big and bulky and well-disciplined. Now, the light infantry was supposed to be specialists in marksmanship. Whereas the grenadiers, certainly they were like the most experienced soldiers, but again, big, bulky, shock and awe, use the bayonet. Okay, so my hat here with just a simple brim, which keeps out the sun and the debris and the rain, but it's cut down so I can get through the forest, is very practical compared to the cocked hat, or commonly known as the tricorn, okay, that we can see here. Now, once we get into the 19th century, wide brim hats of various ways, so like uncocked hats, became the norm, especially since most people were farmers or standing out in the outdoors. So this is a very practical hat. And if you want to pin up your hat for whatever reason, you can. It's no big deal. By the time we get into the 20th century, even the US military, which had the kepis and the forage caps and even helmets, because that's what the Europeans were doing, they started going towards the wide-brimmed hat, hence the campaign hat. Now, the campaign hat was often modified in various ways of taking out the peak, so now you pretty much just got a rounded hat. But for stylistic sake, the campaign hat had a following in early 20th century headgear, and still one of my favorite hats to wear outdoors. But they also had flat caps. Flat caps like this, or newsboy caps, or 9-panel caps, or whatever you want to call them. This was the hat of the common person. So if you're in the early 20th century and you have a motor car, right, this is probably going to blow off. Having something like this isn't going to blow off as easy. Granted, they're not going like 70 miles an hour, but still, okay? So your average person in the early 20th century probably had a hat that was either a style of campaign hat or a fedora or something like that, a wide-brimmed farming hat that was made out of felt, or they would have had a newsboy type cap or a flat cap, something like that. This is probably what you would have basically seen in the early 20th century. And even today, that carries over, right? You still got to protect yourself from the sun. Now, the nice thing about the campaign hats and the somewhat stiff brim, it's not entirely stiff, it was still versatile You know, it's narrow brimmed. We're talking about like 2, maybe 3 inches at the widest all the way around instead of really big. We're not talking about a sombrero. So this is still very maneuverable in the woods compared to something like this, where you can see the size difference alone in the brim. To something like this, you know, various caps of various different designs, but basically has the same practical application to what my grandfather wore in the Continental Army during the American Revolution. So it's fun how history kind of transcends, and material culture really doesn't necessarily get invented, it just gets revised or a certain take on it. But the practicality is still there because we're all human. We can all share this heritage no matter what, right? Now, what's your favorite hat that you like to wear? Whether it be in living history, you know, when I do Civil War reenacting, I kind of have a wide brim farmer's hat. I also have a kepi and a forge cap, but I honestly prefer having my shade. Or even if it's not living history, what kind of hat do you wear outdoors when you're going camping? Not just out in the streets in the city, but what do you take outdoors and why? Put it in the comments box below. Now, if you like this video, please click like because it helps the channel. We really appreciate it. It helps people find it as well, so be doing them a favor. And we're also at the Preston Mess Kit. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the Preston Mess Kit, in my opinion, it is the best one-man mess kit ever created. It's made out of 316L stainless steel. It comes with a cup, a 54-ounce stainless steel canteen with cap, a plate, and the skillet. Best part, the plate and the skillet clamshell together. Now you have yourself a baking vessel. You also have a container to take your food, especially soft foods like bread or maybe meat ration that you need to take with you, but you're not going out for the entire weekend with it. You're going to cook it up on maybe a day hike or something like that. So it's a very versatile kit. Abercrombie & Fitch sold it, and so did many big other retailers. Soldiers, especially officers, bought them to take over to World War I. So you can get yours by clicking the link in the description box for $200. I don't know if we're going to have another run of these being made. We might, but the chances are probably not. And if we do, it's going to be a while before we do. So if you want it, you definitely want to secure it now. Ish Enterprises is the one who's producing it, and they're finalizing the cup. They've got the plate, the skillet, and the canteen all figured out. Now they're just trying to figure out the cup. So now if you're also interested, we're starting a museum. We're trying to create, and we need all the help that we can get. In the description box below, you can see there's a form on there. So if you have some type of expertise, you know somebody, you may have connections or something like that, you're willing to help in some way that maybe not financially, that form is in the description box below. But if you can help financially, then go to www.honorableoutfitters.com, and there's a bunch of different tiers on there for you to contribute financially. You can always join the Camp Crafters Guild for free. Just Google Camp Crafters Guild and join. It's a great community. It's a loving community. We have challenges, we have get-togethers. It is just awesome. We also have an incredible library. So check that out as well. Now, if you'd like to see the Preston Mess Kit videos, you can check it out here. If you'd like to see more videos about camp crafting gear, you can check it out here. Hope you guys have a wonderful week. Give a kiss hug to your loved ones. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.